Comments from Gregg, and then we'll take your questions.
Thank you, Michael. First of all, starting outside of soccer, just really proud of the entire group today. For the letter that was sent to everyone in Congress, calling them to action. It's sometimes it's easy to get caught up in our little world and what we're doing, and you forget about what's happening in the outside world. But this group certainly didn't do that. And you saw the letter and the orange armbands, and everyone's just tired of it. And it's good that this group is asking for action and asking people to make change. And be the change is something we've been part of for a while now, and this is just applying it in another area. So really proud of the group. The Wear Orange actually came from a girl named Hadaya Pendleton from Chicago. Ironically, we're based in Chicago, a 15-year-old who was shot and killed in a park after she took her final exams in school. And it's not only about the mass shootings that you see every day, but it's just about the needless gun violence and the kids and the people that are dying every day. So really proud of the group. Regarding the game, moving on to the game, A+ effort from the group in tough conditions, warm conditions. The guys were battling to the end. You see every duel was contested. We talked about Uruguay being a very physical team, a very competitive team, and we had to bring that if we were going to try to get something out of this game, and we certainly did. The guys competed at a very high level. Some of the chances that we had, we could have played out a little better, could have been a little bit cleaner, and we could have got a goal. But we didn't, and we'll use this as a good learning experience. Thinking about some guys in particular, Joe Scally, for him, the way that he managed through the game and hung in there and was battling and cramping and going from left to right back. Really proud of that effort. Sean Johnson in goal, who's been really asking for a difficult opportunity or a challenging game, and he got his game and he responded. I thought he played an excellent game. And then Tyler Adams tonight, to me, had an extra gear, extra spark, was all over the place and really helped us on both sides of the ball. So those are just three guys that come to mind. But overall, pleased with the performance. We talked about wanting to keep progressing, keep moving forward as a group. And, tonight I think is an indication of that. Thank you.
So just one other note before we take your questions. The U.S. now extends its home unbeaten run to 25 matches, which is one off the record that we set between 2013 and 2015. 25 matches at home unbeaten.
Grant.
Yep. Hey, one second, Grant. Nice hustle.
Gregg, Nunez and Cavani are two of the best forwards in the world right now. What did you think of your back line's performance, especially against them?
I don't really think that's an accurate statement, Grant, but they're very good forwards, right? They're a high level of quality. Nunez is a younger guy with huge potential. Is going to be a huge transfer, and he's had a great season in Benfica. Cavani from Man United is a workhorse, is a battler, is a guy that competes for everything. He gets chances like you saw against Mexico, and he's able to finish it. We talked to the center backs about embracing that challenge, enjoying the challenge. It's not often that you get to play against guys of that quality. And I think they did a really good job. And, it wasn't easy. I think when Cavani came in, it gave us some even more problems, but they hung in there and they battled.
Doug.
Thank you. Thanks, Gregg. You mentioned Tyler. How did you think the midfield trio as a whole did? And you've started those three pretty consistently throughout qualifying. How set in stone is that MMA midfield? Thank you.
We get a lot of questions about set in stone. I would say nothing at this level is set in stone, just because of the nature of what we're doing. We're picking a team every camp, and a lot of it depends on health status, right? So what I've learned in this job is not to set everything in stone, be flexible, be fluid, and be able to adapt. Regarding these three guys, they're all special talents. Weston was able to compete for 45 minutes after not having started a game in how long? 5 months. And I thought he grew into the game and showed his quality and his calm on the ball. Eunice is a guy that just blows me away at his age, what he can do. Crazy level of talent. We need to work with Eunice on the final product, the final pass, the finishing, because he has a huge ceiling. And Tyler is an engine in there. He has huge capacity. He never stops. He's got a great mindset, and when he's connecting the play, moving the ball quickly, is when I think he's at his best.
We'll make it easy on you and start with Nancy and move our way down.
Hey, Gregg, how important was it to get a game like this, because you haven't played a team like this really in the last couple of years, and how do you keep what you learned from this for the next, whatever it is, 6 months?
Yeah, I think we're going to play 2 other World Cup participants in September. Morocco is 25th in the world and is a World Cup participant, another good opponent. And the idea is to play quality teams. And the reason why is because you want to go into the World Cup with confidence that you can beat anyone on any given day. I remember when we were on the team, Brian and myself and Ernie, in 2002, we played Italy and Russia and Germany before the World Cup, and that gave us a ton of confidence that we can compete with anybody.
Steve.
Gregg, obviously your focus this afternoon was on this game, but there was a game earlier today which impacts you guys for World Cup. Did you watch it? What was your reaction to it, and just the reaction to finally knowing who you're going to play in your World Cup opener?
It's a great feeling. It's kind of strange when you get drawn into a group and one of the it's one of 3 teams that you can play. So in terms of prep, you get stalled a little bit, but now it's full steam ahead, concentrating on Wales. It's a difficult game. My heart goes out to Ukraine. The whole world was probably behind Ukraine and wanting them to go to the World Cup. And just seeing Wales, competing, it wasn't a beautiful game, and they hung in there. They got an own goal, and the goalie had an amazing game, and the goalkeeper had an amazing game, and they ended up going through. So England, Wales, Iran, and U.S. interesting group.
Jeff.
This is another one where we ask you this every game, but just what's your assessment of the forwards and how they did today? And the attack seemed to fizzle in the second half. Why did you think that was, and how good do you think the chemistry is among the guys right now?
Well, Jeff, you got to remember we made 6 subs in the second half, so it's always a little bit disjointed. But I still think it was more of the finishing attacks phase of the game that we struggled in. We got the ball into really good positions and then just didn't take advantage of that. They blocked some crosses. We got some corners. The final pass was a bit off. And give this team credit. Uruguay is a team that doesn't give up many goals. They have, top of the line defenders, and they compete like crazy. So, for us, part of it is understanding that the game will get a little bit disjointed when you make that many subs, and still, hanging in there and evaluating players. Right, we purposely wanted to get Eric Palmer on the field and see what he could do. We wanted to evaluate Scally and see what he can do, and so that was an important part. Haji is another guy. So overall, the strikers, it's a difficult game. Difficult game against big, strong center backs, aggressive center backs. I think there were moments. Jesus had another really good chance. There were moments, and we came up a little bit short. But we'll keep working with these guys.
Daniel, to your left.
Dennis Berry, Kansas City Star. You mentioned EPB getting that time. How did you feel like he did in embracing that challenge of playing Cavani and Nunez?
It's just something to build on. That was the whole idea. With team performance, individual performances, we wanted guys to set a baseline to now keep improving. So, his performance was fine, and we expect now to keep making progress and keep improving.
To your right, Jonathan.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Gregg. In a game where Haji got, I think, only 4 touches in his half hour on the field, is that enough? Is these 2 games now enough evidence, data points, for what you want to see on him?
I'm not so worried about touches. Ideally, they're getting touches in the penalty box or scoring goals. We've had instances before where the forward, barely touches the ball and scores 3 goals. We want to get them chances. We want to see how they're finishing chances. We want to see how they're competing against elite international players, and that's important. I still don't think there's enough of a sample size for Haji, and we'll continue to work with him. We have 2 Nations League games, and we'll see if Jesus and Haji can hit the back of the net in those.
Sam.
Greg, first 10 minutes, Uruguay had some really good looks coming down the right-hand side. What did you make of that start for you guys, and what did you make of the response to kind of slow things down? And what did you?
Well,
It seemed like you were
think
talking
the first
with the group.
3 minutes of the game, they didn't touch the ball, right? Uruguay, right? So then maybe in minute 3 to 7, they had some opportunities, and it was just an adjustment. Joe was getting too tight to the center backs. They were playing with 2 forwards, and the forwards are inside of our center backs. He doesn't need to be that tight. He can start opening up and read those diagonal switches and get much tighter pressure on their wing back in that first stance. Once we made that adjustment, it helped.
Emily?
Greg, I'm going to ask you about. I'll let you wave to the fans first. I'm going to ask you about another sample size. You've had over the last 2 games now 4 different combinations in your center backs. Getting to see EPB today with Walker Zimmerman. Is that a big enough sample size? Do you have a feeling of where you're going to find that chemistry if you need to, with Miles Robinson out, and where you need to maybe keep looking in that position?
We played 2 games against World Cup opponents and didn't give up a goal. So, I mean, there are positives to it. The center backs, as Grant mentioned, are playing against high-quality strikers. And we didn't give up a goal against them. And, I thought they had good performances. Eric is in a case where he's just young. He's just getting his experience, and it's difficult for him. But we'll keep evaluating them. We'll have time in the Nations League, and we'll keep going. We'll have time in September, and we'll see what happens.
Straight back.
Coach, a question not necessarily specific to this game, but talk broadly about what the American Outlaws have done for U.S. soccer.
Oh, man. I remember Sam's Army back in the day. It was a couple hundred people, a couple thousand people, and now American Outlaws is this branch, and it's amazing. You come out here and you see the AO sign, and I've talked to was it the president when we were in Qatar? We talked to him, or
Donald Wine?
yeah, the president.
I'm not sure if he's present.
And they're just everywhere, and it's a great feeling. They're invested in what we're doing. They're invested in U.S. soccer. They support the men's team, the women's team, and it's great to have them out in full force tonight.
Hey, kind of along those same veins, there was some chatter about the atmosphere in Cincinnati. What did you make of the atmosphere here in Kansas City?
I thought it was great. I think we can't underestimate, the passion that the Uruguay fans and the Moroccan fans bring to the table. I've saw some Uruguay fans today walking through town, and they've traveled 14 hours and 16 hours, and they can't wait to see their team play. So I think it leads to a good atmosphere when you have fans of both teams in the stadium. And it was similar to Morocco, where they had some fans, and here similar. But I really enjoyed the atmosphere. I thought it was an intense atmosphere. That's what it felt like on the sideline.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.